if they can get something that's the equivalent of like, it doesn't have to be like the smartest thing in the world, but like a Sonnet 4.6, if it had like the equivalent of something like that, then I'd be all on board personally. But
Hmm. Oh,
the only reason why I
actually,
haven't switched our stuff over is because of that. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, speaking of that though, I wanted to mention this to you, but I saw that you know this Chinese company DeepSeek, they came out with a new model or whatever, but apparently, I mean, I'm not really checking the prices and stuff, but apparently it's like 100 times cheaper to run on them compared to like Chat GPT or whatever. So you might
It's
look at
cheaper, but not 100 times. Like what I was looking at was more like 10 times cheaper,
oh,
which is
it's
still a
10 times.
lot, but yeah, but
Yeah,
not 100x.
not 100. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean 10, hey, 10 is pretty
10
good.
is a lot. I mean, 10 definitely makes a big difference. Like we spend a lot of money on AI. I think I spend at least $1,000 a month on AI, probably more than that.
Yeah.
So like being able to reduce that bill is pretty important. So I mean, I have been looking at the DeepSeek models. Like
Yeah.
I've actually been thinking about switching over to them. The only problem with DeepSeek is like they're based in China
Yeah.
and it's a bit of a privacy concern. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
like
Right. But well, the one thing that you can do, and I've seen, I just saw some people who were doing it, is you can download their model onto your local computer and run it there. I mean, they have if you don't want to use the whole model, you can use a reduced version. Um, but that kind of eliminates all privacy issue, right?
um so yes and no, sort of, right? So first of all, you don't know what the heck this model's doing, right? So
Hmm.
it might
Hmm.
have some sort of Trojan horse in it.
Yeah,
I was actually talking to
precisely.
someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to
Yep.
someone about this, and like apparently there's a lot of models now on Hugging Face that are like basically
Uh-huh.
viruses, right? Like if you run off your
Oh,
computer, it will steal your data. You know what I mean?
oh,
Right? Like there are models like that. It makes you think like was that built in as a back door or something like that
right,
into
right.
DeepSeek? No one can understand these things well enough to definitively say no, right? So first of all, that's the case. But second of all, I don't want to run this thing myself. It's way too much work to run this thing
Yeah,
ourselves, right?
sure.
It's like
Yeah. No, I
that
understand.
just doesn't make sense. You
Yeah,
know?
I agree. I agree. But I mean, I was thinking of it for the agent-based stock picker, right? I mean, you were you were concerned that that was like costing lots of money if you had it do too much stuff. So, you know,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. It's like you're right. This whole agentic trading stuff,
yeah.
like if we could have something that's 10 times cheaper and 10 times faster, that makes a really big difference. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So I completely, yeah, that's why I was actually looking into it. Right? I actually spent a little bit of time looking into it because like the costs and the timing of it, like they're both pretty big. They're pretty both pretty important things to improve on.
Hmm.
So I'm just adjusting my camera here. We're doing like a YouTube push now, so I've been trying to get like our setup a lot better, make things look a little nicer and all that. Cool. All right, awesome. I think this is good. It's eye level. Trying to figure out the right positioning of this camera. iPhones have really good cameras. Like doing this like continuity thing is like, there we go. Cool. Wearing the bot spot shirt too. Yeah. Cool, but yeah, I agree with you. There's got to be ways to do this for cheaper and faster, right? Because like back testing and stuff is still quite expensive, and it is quite slow. I mean, if you guys want, we could even do it today. We can try doing it with DeepSeek today, right? I think that'd be a cool thing to try out. You know, I spent maybe I should show you guys actually. We've been running these models for some time now. Da, 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 da. Let me log in here. Okay, so hotspot. Okay, and then let me share my screen. But these agents actually seem to be doing pretty well. This new one with the committee, the agent committee or investment committee. Maybe that's like the right, I don't know what the right way to call it. I think that kind of makes the most sense. Like an investment committee is kind of like the easiest thing to understand, I think. But with that, we have been running this bot for a few days now. We could actually take a look at how these all are working. So let me take a look 1 second. Okay, so here is the AI agent committee, right? And then we have the AI agent trader that was just using Gemini 3.1. We've been running these now for some time. So here's the one with the committee. It is beating the stock market, which is interesting. Even in a down market, it's winning. Although it only bought Nvidia, and I'm trying to understand why. Why did it only buy Nvidia? And like, so I'm working on. I was working on this today actually. It's basically making, increasing the observability of these things. Like, so when you back test it, you could understand why did it make certain trades and what did the AI agent say? And you know what I mean? Like you can understand why it's doing specific things. But this one has been running in real life, like, actually trading paper money, mind you, but actually trading. And I realized that we don't have the tooling to actually look into these things and figure out, well, why the hell did you buy Nvidia, right? Why did you buy that? And why didn't you buy anything else? So it's a $100,000 account, right? And still sitting in $80,000 of cash, which is, by the way, a good idea. Smart thing that it did that. But is that like, was there a good reason for that or not? Is what I'd really like to do. So I've kind of been looking at like, how do we get better observability of these agents while they're running? So
Yeah,
here's the one.
when it's in cash, is the cash earning interest?
That's a good question. I
Because it
don't
should be,
know.
right?
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
so
This is
let
with
me
alpaca.
just tell, I'll just tell you my suggestion is that, and this is what I do, is that I may have mentioned this before, but there's this fund, it's called Box, BOXX, and
Hmm.
it's doing a box spread on the SPX index. So there's two advantages to that. One is that you don't, I mean, you don't get paid a dividend. You just the account just increases in value. And the second is if you're in the US, you get you get the tax advantage of the 60 long, uh, 30 short term or 40 short term. So
Okay.
anyway, so it's paying you basically the overnight rate that the best rate that banks get. So
Yeah, I mean that would make sense. Yeah, there's a bunch of funds like that that can get you like basically Fed funds rates or whatever. That would make sense to park the cash into something like that.
right,
And
yeah.
maybe we could add that to the prompt to kind of say, if you're not doing anything with the money, then park it in something else. I think before we even do that, I'd like to understand what the hell is the
Yeah,
rationale for like
no,
why do we
I
buy
totally
Nvidia, right? Like,
right,
yeah,
totally agree. But I
yeah,
mean, it's just that if you have idle cash, you need to put it somewhere where it earns interest, right?
yeah, yeah, for sure. I agree. Definitely agree with that. A lot of other algorithms do that, right? Like the TQQQ bot is like you're either in TQQQ or you're in like a position that's earning some sort of interest, right? And depending on your broker, some brokers will just like normally give you like money for your cash, but not every single broker does that, I don't think. So here's the investment committee, right? So here's that how it traded. It's beating the market. It's down, but it's beating the market by a pretty healthy margin so far. And then here is the one that's just like we basically said balls to the wall, just like make as much money as possible with Gemini, and this is how this one's running. And again, it owns these two things. I don't know why. I think that's a big problem, right? It's like understanding why the heck this thing bought these things or didn't buy something else, whatever. Like being able to peek under the hood and basically ask, why did you do this, right? I think that's a really important thing to do. So yeah, so that's kind of where my head's been at, and I've actually started to work on that a bit here with this agent observability stuff. So yeah. We also made some pretty big upgrades to the way that you deploy strategies. So we're making this thing a lot more efficient and a lot easier to do. So you might notice this page is upgraded. It looks nicer. If you're familiar with this page, this is a much nicer looking page now. The positions are easier to understand. Like there's logs now on this page. We've kind of collapsed two pages into one, right? So before we used to have a deployment page that looked super ugly. And then we had the bot page, which was kind of incomplete. And now we put those two together. And now whenever you deploy stuff on our platform, it's a lot easier to understand and easier to see what's going on. And we're working on a new update where we think we can get the cost of deployments reduced from right now it costs about 12 or $14 per month to deploy a strategy. We think we can get that down to like 5 or 10 cents. Like if it's something that only runs once per day, probably about 10 cents or something like that per month. Significantly cheaper. So we'll allow people to deploy a lot more strategies on our platform once we have that done on all the plans. Um, and yeah, so that's something that we're working on. And we're also working on like a thing where um, I don't know if I mentioned to you guys, but now it's kind of available. It's still a little bit in between. But if you look at account settings now, you'll see that you can have broker connections now, right? So you can have now connections to the broker here, like this, right? And then now it could like check. We're gonna add in the ability to like it's gonna check your broker on a regular basis and tell you kind of what you own, maybe give you alerts on things. If you own something and some news came out about it or whatever, we'll be able to like make custom emails for everybody or custom messages for everybody. Once you link your broker, we could give you a lot of like stuff to work with, and then like you could trade directly with that account, right? So you don't have to like run a strategy. You can trade directly with the account. So we've made a lot of progress towards that. So now if you go in, you can like add a broker connection and then deploy it. So these two things are like separated now. So you can now connect your broker, and that could be used for a bunch of different things, right? And then like you could deploy several things to the same broker. It just kind of makes everything a lot easier. We did the same thing with environment variables too. So it's like there's like environment variable packages that you could like reuse and stuff. So. Um, it seems like a minor or a technical thing, but this really opens up the ability to do a lot of really cool stuff. So I want to kind of bring that up. Cool. Awesome. So yeah, so here's our two AI bots. I'm definitely interested in trying some more if you guys are open to that. I'd love to try to make a few more investment committees. I'd like to understand how these things are working. I'd like to run a few more. Like that's kind of what's been on my mind personally. But it's up to you guys what you want to work on, obviously.
That's kind of what I wanted. Remember, I said like the point system to see why it made the decision.
Yeah.
I, I always wanted that too because it'd be nice to know what it's doing and why it's doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you could do that with back testing right now. Like that should work with back testing. Um, we could double check whether that was added. I'm pretty sure that works with back testing. But with live trading, we don't have that ability, right? So it's like, why the heck did you buy this thing? I don't know, right? And that's definitely a problem. Cool. Yeah, I'm glad you agree, Maurizio.
One thing about NVIDIA is its earnings is tomorrow
Hmm.
after the close, so may be anticipating a pop on that or something. I don't
Who knows, man? Like I legitimately have no idea why I bought Nvidia. Like not a clue, you know? Yeah, I think
know.
that's a problem, like we should know. We should know exactly why these things are doing things. I've even been thinking about like adding the ability to have like guardrails around this too, right? So it's like the way it works right now is you have, let me pull this up here. GitHub Investment Committee. Lumibot. Let's see if this shows up in Google. AI Investment Committee example. Yeah, so it looks like this, right? So it's like you have your researcher, then your bulk. So the researcher is one agent, and then it takes that research kit and sends it to the bull case and the bear case. So these are two different agents that go off and research things on their own. And then they'll send their results over to a portfolio manager that basically, checks cash, checks positions, figures out like the risk limits, all that kind of stuff, and like actually places the trade. But the thing is that, leaving that fully to an agent opens up the possibility that it might do something stupid, right? Like the models are getting a lot smarter, and I think we can trust them quite a bit more now, and they'll continue to get better. They'll continue to be more trustworthy, hallucinate less, all that kind of stuff. But I don't think that ever is going to be zero, right? It's going to be some like 0.000000001, right? But that's still when you're dealing with, millions of dollars potentially, right? You want that to be actually zero, right? So what we could do is we could actually add like a layer in front here that's like enforcing the rules. Like, what are the rules? You cannot trade more than X amount of your cash, or you cannot buy options, or you cannot do whatever, right? Like a set of rules that's like coded, hard coded in Python. That's like, no, we just reject things that don't match these rules, right? Rather than like fully relying on the agent to make that decision, right? I think that would be a pretty cool layer to put in here as well, right? Because that's like making sure, this is enforced. I don't care what you think as an agent, you're not trading options, period, right? I think that would be a pretty interesting thing to throw in here. And I've been thinking about that a lot, where, those kind of risk controls or rules can be pretty helpful here. But yeah, that's kind of what's been going through my mind personally. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I was green. I agreed from last week.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, all right. So why don't we do this then? Why don't we do the vote, or let's start talking about it at least. Um, Here's what we have on the list. A bit of a smaller class than usual today. Um,
Oh, do you guys hear that? I think Grok 4.3 is going to be with Palantir's API. I think I
no, I
saw
did not
something
hear
on
that.
that. Yeah, I just saw something on that.
Yeah.
Haven't read it all, but I was like, oh, that's interesting.
So what does that mean exactly?
Huh?
So what
We're
does that
starting to
mean
collect it more.
exactly?
I don't know. I haven't read it. I just saw the headlines on it.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah. But
I
I
get that.
think the way Palantir collects data will definitely make it more efficient, make it a lot
Yeah,
smart,
yeah.
a lot
I mean,
smarter.
I did hear something a little different where Anthropic is going to be using this chips from XAI. That I heard about. I think that's a very interesting idea.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't hear about this Palantir thing personally. Oh, something actually really cool though, by the way, and Maurizio, you'll like this because you're an investor in our company. Um, After I made those updates to Lumibot, where like now it has like an AI agent committee and like all that kind of stuff, and like we really updated our documentation and all that. We went kind of viral on Twitter. There's a few people that were posting about us. We got like a lot of popularity from it, and we started getting GitHub stars. Like it went like vertical in terms of GitHub stars. And we got, I guess, so much attention that a VC actually reached out to me. So it's a
Oh.
venture capital firm that has 3 billion assets under management, and what they do is they invest in companies that have open source um, projects, right, and are trying to sell to enterprise, which is like that's basically us. Like it's perfect, it's exactly. And she reached out to me, not the other way around, which I
Wow,
thought was
nice.
fascinating. Yeah.
That's way good.
Yeah, so let's see what happens. Let's see if we can win this customer over, or win the
Yeah.
VC over. Yeah,
Hey, I'm rooting for us. I'm rooting.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Hopefully this works out. We get a couple $1 million in investments, and we can really drive this stuff a lot further. You know?
Yeah. Hope so.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Okay. All right. So here we have things to work on today. So usual suspects. Let me know if you guys want to add something to the list. Right. We have the alpha picks option strategy. If you guys want, we can keep working on that. I think where we left off, I actually made a lot of progress with it since after last week. I think those are almost ready to go. Let me actually check. I haven't looked at it for a bit. My thing keeps crashing. So